Hello and welcome to this session of Sage 200 Account COVID-19 Reduced Rate VAT. My name's Tony Hutchinson of Reality Solutions. So, as you may be aware, on the 15th of July to the 12th of January 2021, changes have been made to the hotel and holiday accommodation, hospitality and admissions to certain attractions, where the VAT rate has been changed to 5% for that period. So what we're going to do is show you how to change this in Sage 200. So first of all, let's get into Sage 200. Now at your main screen, the first thing we need to do is actually change the VAT rate. So to do that, we go into Accounting System Manager, into Settings, and then into VAT Rates. Now, as you can see, we have a long list of VAT rates already there. We just need to add a new line to the bottom. Now, I'm just going to click on the bottom line, or you could just click Add. Give it a number that hasn't been used already, so I'm going to use 79. And I'm actually going to call it the temporary reduced VAT rate. So I'm just going to put that in there. VAT return, make sure it appears on the VAT return. Terms are not applicable, and the rate is of course 5%. Check the input and output codes for the VAT, and if you're happy with that, we just click OK. That's as simple as it is to change the VAT rate. Now, of course, you may have suppliers or customers that will now be using that 5% VAT rate for that period of time. So what we need to do is change them in the sales ledger and purchase ledger. So into sales ledger, enter your customer list and find your customer that actually needs that VAT rate. I've got one here already pre-set up called VAT Code Change Customer. I'm just going to amend account, go to the trading tab, and here we have the default VAT code. At the moment it's set to 1 standard rate, and I'm going to change that to 79 temporary reduced rate VAT and save. And that's as simple as it is. Now, be aware that you need to make a note of this customer that you've changed and any others you change, because they will need to be set back after the 12th of January 2021. Now, of course, if you're running Sage after Spring 2019 version or later, you can actually import the VAT codes and you can also export them as well. So, of course, you could do that if there's about a few hundred to do, or you feel more comfortable doing it that way. So we've changed that in the sales ledger. We're now going to go to purchase ledger and do the same thing. We're going to the supplier called VAT Code Change Supplier, click amend account, go to the trading tab, and again, exactly the same, change the default VAT code to the temporary reduced VAT rate and click save. So any transactions that are now done with that supplier and customer will reflect with the new VAT code. Now, if you do your VAT rate via the stock code, what you would need to do then is go into the stock and into your stock records, well, into your stock list. We can select one of the stock records and click amend details. And what we can do at that point is change the code at that point to temporary reduced VAT rate. So that stock code then, every time you use it from now on, will actually be using the new 5% VAT rate. Again, be aware that after the 12th of January, you will need to change that back. And again, you can actually import and export that data straight into Sage. Okay, so at this point, I'm just going to change that back to standard rate. And that's now set. Now, what happens is as well is you now need to look at the outstanding VAT applicable transactions that haven't been posted to the system yet. Of course, if the tax point is on or after the 15th of July. So what we're going to do is I'm going to look at a few sales orders that could come up in that criteria. So I'm just going to make this back to nice and tidy. I'm going to go into my sales ordering and my sales order list. And I've got 3 items there. I've got one where the items are not dispatched at all, an order where the items have been dispatched, and one where it's been part dispatched and it's also been invoiced. So if it's not dispatched, it's very straightforward. We can go into that order, go show quantities, and we can see there, quantity 3, allocated 3, non-dispatched. For these, we think actually these all need to have the new VAT rate. We can just go into edit item. And then once we do that, we can actually change the standard VAT rate to the relevant code. Click save. And that's now complete for that record. And that is straightforward enough for that one. And the same goes for dispatched. If you've dispatched the order but not actually yet invoiced it, we can go and show quantity. So I can see I've got four dispatched and non-invoiced. I can actually edit the item again, and I can actually change the VAT rate. And again, nice and straightforward. What we do have problems with sometimes is, of course, you may have an item where it's been part dispatched and invoiced. So, of course, it's been invoiced at the old VAT rate and half of it is getting sent out after the VAT changes on the 15th of July. To do this one, we go into the order. If I select the line, I can see that I've got quantity of 2, one's been allocated, one's been dispatched, and that has actually been invoiced. If I click on that to edit the item, I'm actually not allowed to change that rate. So what we need to do here is we have to actually go back into that line to edit it and actually change the quantity from 2 to 1 for that one line. Save that line down. And then we need to add another item exactly the same with a new VAT code. So we can actually start typing in the code. So I'll put WT slash white slash lamb slash 60. Hopefully that should pick that code up, which it has. And again, at this point, I can say, well, actually, I want one of those. I could have got the price. I didn't get the price, so I'll just put a random price in there of £20. And we change the VAT rates for that particular line of 79, the temporary reduced VAT rate. Save. Oops, I didn't put the amount in, so I'll just change that to 1. I'll just change that. I'll just change that to actually something a bit lower. And we click Save. So there we go. That's now accepted that line. And that way now we are using the relevant VAT rate, so we can just double check that line, edit, and we can see that it's now using the temporary VAT rate. So when you do actually dispatch those items and when you invoice them, they will be going at the relevant 5%. It is the same for purchase orders as well. So the same process is done through purchase orders. So that concludes most of the training. Of course, if you need more information, there is information on the Sage website on their help files, which gives you another demo of this particular VAT change as well. So hopefully that's been helpful for you, and you can now move on and actually change the relevant suppliers and customers to the 5% VAT rate. So thank you for listening. My name's Tony of Reality Solutions. Thank you and goodbye.